more easier to carve. It's probably a lot more easier to carve for people at home. If you're slicing, we have to cut the pork this way so we can cut it the same way as we've done.
And is it not too salty afterwards?
No, it's not. The salt will. The crispy skin is
absorbing quite nicely.
A dash of olive oil on there.
Basically, you could also do that if you take some butter and you rub it on the ground of the pork.
That's correct, yes. Right, now we can put that in the oven at about probably, for the first 20 minutes, probably about 200, 220 degrees Celsius. And that's to get the skin really nice and crispy. We can get it really, really nice and crispy. After 20 minutes, we'll bring the temperature down to probably about 160, 140, and then it'll slowly cook, and we won't lose any juices and all that flavor. And
the good thing is, actually, when you don't eat everything, you can eat it cold, what is actually the best on a sandwich, right?
That's correct, yes. You can have it cold on a sandwich with just a spread of apple sauce, even some mustard and mayonnaise, and a bit of cheese or something.
Okay, let's put it in the oven. Should be time to take our pork out of the oven.
Yep.
And let's do that.
I think so, yeah. Once we take the pork out, we'll let it rest for a little while.
Oh, look at that. This looks fantastic. Very hot. Look at that. Simon, I'm getting hungry.
Oh, yes.
Look at this.
We need a pair of tongs and we'll
just switch off the oven.
Actually,
I think I hold it for you. Okay, wonderful. You can make a gravy out of that. That's not a problem.
Yes,
but for today's dish, we don't need it.
No, that's right. Today we're going to serve it with apple sauce instead.
While the pork is resting, we are finishing off our mashed potatoes. I just chopped some potatoes, put it in salt water, and basically cooked it for around 10-15 minutes.
That's correct. They'll be nice and soft and
should be finished right now. So they're nice and steamy. And we just use a little knife just to check how far they are. And they're actually pretty good. They're nice and cooked. So we should drain them.
Now we've got a big large knob of butter here. We'll throw that straight in. That'll melt down with the temperature being so hot. We've also got some nice cream. We'll add 110 mils, 125 mils of that.
Yeah, basically always try how many potatoes you have, and sometimes you add a little bit of cream.
That's right.
So it's basically don't do too much, start mashing, and then we basically see how it goes. Our mashed potato is finished. We should cut some of the pork.
Right, and what we're going to do is we're just going to take off this burnt part here, where it's just been really, really cooked. Place that aside. You want to cut this not too thin. You want to have this reasonably thick. Okay, if you can pass me that dish, Nick.
I certainly can, but we should put some mashed potatoes underneath first.
Yes, that's correct.
We take a nice lump, possibly 2 lumps of mashed potato, and we take a nice little piece of pork. We are taking some applesauce.
That's correct, yes.
And we actually be putting some on the side. And we're taking a little bit of decoration, some rosemary, some thyme, and basically finished is your loin of pork with a crackling skin, mashed potatoes, and some applesauce.
Applesauce.
So, should we see each other for the next round?
That's exactly right. I think we should.
Let's go.
Okay.
See you after the break. Okay, Simon. So, our pork is done.
Yep.
Should we do some beef?
We've got prime rib of beef here. We've got
This looks too good. And you think that's all for me?
that's right. It can this could feed a whole army. All right, what we've got here is we've got an Australian prime rib of beef. As you can see, it's a ribeye. It's got the bone in it. It's got a nice bit of marbling, and this is a really nice, great piece of meat for grilling. Really, really fantastic.
Simon is cutting a nice piece of meat. I'm just preparing at the same time just some potatoes. I basically chopped already a few potatoes and basically just in half a centimeter thick wedges. Very, very, very easy. Just show you that you just basically do like half a centimeter. Very, very, very simple. Potatoes. Put them in a fire resistant bowl because basically it will cook inside. Take a little pinch of salt, pinch of pepper,
There's your garlic.
some garlic, wedge of olive oil. So all I do is I just mix it around a little bit that the oil is covering the potatoes. So basically garlic, salt and pepper, olive oil, mix it through, put it in the oven, preheat the oven, 180 degrees, around 25 minutes. All you have to do, every 5-10 minutes, just stir it once.
That's right.
And to make them brown evenly.
That's
Ideal
correct.
if you have a flat dish, then you can actually lay them out.
That's right. We've got with our prime rib here, we're going to press lots of pepper onto it. Really, really push it down. Nice peppered steak is really, really good, especially on the grill when you're grilling it.
But look at the quality of the meat. You see the marbling.
Yeah,
So any good piece of meat has a lot of fat
that's correct.
because fat is flavor.
Now there's one here we've got from earlier. I've marinated already. It should be ready to go. Just check to see if that's hot enough.
That looks very hot to
I
be
think
honest.
that is.
You
can
see
see that
it
smoke.
sizzling. You
Everything.
saw even a little flame coming out
That's
from
right.
the oil. So this is just the excess of the oil.
This will take it can take up to probably, I would say half an hour, 25 minutes, half an hour, depending on how you want it cooked.
And depending on how thick you have your
That's
steak.
right.
To have a perfect look on a steak, you would turn it only 4 times. 2 times across the line,
Yep.
and 2 times exactly the opposite.
That's
because
right.
you have a nice crisscross
That's
on
right.
the steak. What we're doing, we have the potatoes in the oven, so every 5 minutes we should just check a little bit.
Yep.
The first 10 minutes not so bad, but then later on that they don't brown too much. We also have a little side salad, just as a little decoration. So we opened earlier on a bag of salad, and we actually only do some dressing with some olive oil and
Yep.
maybe a little balsamic vinegar just to get a little different flavor.
We'll be probably due to give that a turn in just
Yeah,
a moment.
I would say turn it
probably,
once.
yeah, let's give it that. It's that heavy, it's hurting my hand.
Look at that. I mean, you can't have a nicer piece of meat.
Well, that's what you want. At the beginning, you want that really hot temperature just to seal all the flavour into the meat. And like I said, we've turned it down just a little bit now. And with a steak this thick, what you'd want to do is you want to really, really cook it all on the outside, all the way around. Not just on either side, you want to be able to cook it each on the outside and on the bottom and top.
The most important thing on a good steak is the quality of the meat you're using.
You've got grass-fed beef, you've got grain-fed beef. This